Why every coffee machine dies right after the warranty ends. 2 years and 1 month. That's how long the average pump espresso machine lasts. The warranty? 2 years exactly. That's not bad luck. That's engineering. Someone in a product meeting decided how long your machine should live. A machine dying at month 25 sells itself 6 times. Today, 4 ways they build in that expiration date, including one so blatant repair shops won't touch it, and the 5-minute check that tells you if yours is next. We start inside the machine, at the part doing the most honest work, and taking the most dishonest shortcuts, the thing that heats your water. In machines from the 70s and 80s, that was a brass or aluminum boiler, a solid chunk of metal that basically cannot wear out. There are 40-year-old lever machines from that era still pulling shots every single morning, trading hands online for more than they cost new. And their heating element is usually the one part that never needed replacing. Metal that thick doesn't have a lifespan. It has a warranty measured in generations. In most modern machines, under about $600, that boiler is gone. In its place sits a thermoblock, a thin aluminum channel often wrapped in plastic housing that flash heats water as it rushes through. And to be clear, the sales pitch is real. Thermoblocks are cheaper to make, lighter to ship, and ready in 30 seconds instead of 15 minutes. On paper, pure progress. But here's the trade nobody prints on the box. Every heating cycle expands and contracts that thin metal, morning after morning, thousands of times, like bending a paperclip back and forth in slow motion. Limescale builds up inside channels too narrow to properly clean, choking the water path a little more each month. And the plastic fittings clamped around all that heat slowly turn brittle, until one day a connector cracks and your machine quietly pees water onto the counter. The typical failure window? 2 to 4 years. Read that range again and remember the number from the start of this video. The math isn't hiding. Now, the honest caveat, because we're always fair here. Thermoblocks aren't evil by definition. To scale religiously, use filtered water, and a well-made one can run 5 or 6 years. The problem isn't the technology, it's which thermoblock they chose to hit a price point. And on the cheap ones, the plastic surrenders long before the metal does, so the part wears out. Annoying, but a worn part is only profitable if you can't replace it. Which brings us to a design decision that has nothing to do with heat and everything to do with glue. Try opening your coffee machine. Seriously, pause this video, flip it over, and count the screws you recognize. I'll wait. On a lot of modern machines, you'll find security torques, tri-wing, or strange oval head screws that no screwdriver in your house fits. Some brands go further. Ultrasonic welded seams and glued housings that physically cannot be opened without cracking the shell. That case isn't closed. That case is locked. Ask yourself the obvious question: why would a water heater need tamper-proof screws? It's not a phone. There's no data inside, no battery to catch fire. There's a pump, a heater, and a valve. Plumbing with a power cord. The only thing those screws protect the machine from is being repaired. Repair technicians have a nickname for these: shaker machines, because the only diagnosis possible is picking one up, shaking it, and listening for what rattles. Independent repair shops increasingly turn them away at the door, not because they can't fix the broken part, but because they can't reach it without destroying the case around it. And now run the numbers from the customer's chair. 40 euros of labor just to get in, unknown damage on the way, no guarantee it closes again. Suddenly the sensible choice is a new machine. That's the trick in one sentence. When repair is engineered to be irrational, broken quietly becomes replaced. And nobody had to force you. The caveat: some sealing is genuine safety engineering. Water and 230 volts live millimeters apart in there. and regulators rightly demand protection. But there's a visible difference between a safety cover over the heating element and an entire chassis welded shut like a bank vault. One protects you, the other protects a revenue model, and once you know to look, you can tell them apart in the store, from the outside, in 10 seconds. Still, locks can be picked. People with heat guns and stubbornness do get inside, so the industry built a third wall behind the second, and this one you can't cut through because it isn't made of anything. Let's say you beat the odds. You got the case open, you found the culprit, a $2 solenoid valve, a $3 brew unit seal, a thermal fuse worth cents. The machine is one tiny component away from another 5 years of life. Now try to buy that component. For many major brands, spare parts for a discontinued model become unavailable within a few years. And models get discontinued fast. Some lines are replaced yearly by a near identical machine wearing a new model number. Same pump, same block, new sticker, and an incompatible parts diagram. Pay attention to that move because it's the quietest one in this whole video. Model churn isn't innovation. It's a paperwork trick that turns every machine into an orphan, on a schedule, without breaking a single law. Here's the math that should genuinely make you angry. A brew unit seal costs a couple of dollars to manufacture. If you can't get it, you throw away a machine that is 99% functional, pump fine, heater fine, grinder fine, because one rubber ring the size of a coin has no legal way to reach you. Multiply that by millions of machines a year, and no parts available becomes one of the most profitable sentences in the entire industry. Nobody at the factory broke your machine. They just made sure nobody could save it. To be fair, and tell me in the comments if you've seen the good side of this, the tide is turning. EU right to repair rules increasingly force manufacturers to keep spare parts available for years after the last unit ships. And some brands, credit where due, sell parts openly, publish exploded diagrams, even post repair guides. When you see a brand do that, write its name down. That's the strongest buy signal in this industry. Stronger than any review score, and after our video on bot reviews, you know how low that bar sits. So, a heater built to wear, a case built to stay closed, parts built to vanish. 3 physical tricks, 19th century tactics in modern plastic, which is exactly why number 1 is different. The most modern way to kill a coffee machine doesn't touch the hardware at all. It doesn't live in the machine. It lives in the code. Here's the future of planned obsolescence, the machine that simply decides it's broken. Higher-end machines increasingly track internal counters, brew cycles completed, descale cycles logged, filter age in days, cross a threshold, and the machine locks itself into an error state, a red wrench icon in E14, a descale required that no amount of actual descaling clears. Now walk through what just happened, slowly, because it's genuinely absurd. The hardware is perfect, the pump pumps, the heater heats, nothing failed. A counter hit a number, and your machine now demands a service reset that only an authorized center, or for older models, nobody at all, can perform. Think about what that means in plain language. The manufacturer holds a remote kill switch on a machine you fully own, and the trigger isn't where, it's arithmetic. And notice how it beats every defense you built up during this video. You can't descale your way out, the lock ignores maintenance. You can't tool your way in, the lock isn't physical. You can't order the part, there is no part. The first 3 tricks were walls. This one is a rule, and rules don't rust. The honest caveat, as always, some of these lockouts genuinely protect the machine. A hard descale lockout on a machine that has truly never been descaled prevents a scaled up boiler from becoming a hazard, legitimate full stop. But watch what happens to that defense in the real world. The reset procedure is deliberately undocumented. The official answer is bring it in. And owner forums are full of people whose meticulously maintained machines locked anyway, right on schedule. A safety feature you're not allowed to reset isn't safety. It's a subscription you never signed up for, with a cancellation fee shaped exactly like a new machine. Which raises the only question that matters. How do you avoid all 4 traps before your money leaves your pocket? That's the check I promised, and it takes 5 minutes. 3 searches, 1 look, do this before buying any machine or to judge the one steaming next to you right now. 1. Search the model name plus spare parts. Real shops, real part numbers, real prices? Good sign. Nothing but buy the new model, walk away. 2. Look at the screws. Standard Phillips or hex means repairable intent. Security screws mean sealed intent, and you now know intent is everything. 3. Search the model plus error code reset. If owners share a working procedure, the community has already picked the lock. If every thread ends with gave up and bought a new one, you have your answer, and so does your wallet. 5 minutes. It will save you hundreds, probably more than once, starting with your very next purchase. And here's your homework for the comments. How old was your last machine when it died, and was it just past warranty? I'm collecting the data, and I suspect we already know what it'll show. So it was never bad luck. It was 4 decisions. Built to wear, sealed shut, parts erased, software that says no. Next week, we open one up and find the $2 part holding a $700 machine hostage.